So there's something about Sonic Dream Team that got me super intrigued, besides the fact that it's going to be exclusively on Apple Arcade for reasons of, I don't know, money and why. There's something that really stood out to me the most, and something that I kind of talked about a few months ago in regards to Sonic, which is the art style. Now, the art style of Sonic was something that has been very critical for several years now, I think since after Forces, where a lot of people were trying to figure out if Sonic should have a new art direction, a new art style, a new change of pace as well as look. And now seeing Sonic Dream Team a little bit closer and seeing all the renders in HD into its fullest glory, I think we are now in that era. I think we are now finally in the Mario Wonderification for Sonic here, thanks to Sonic Dream Team. And I think that is something that I've been waiting for a long ass time in regards to Sonic, because like I said, or at least I said in the previous video regarding art style, Sonic needed it for a very long time. But of course, I know that I feel like I'm talking out of my ass here when I'm saying that there is a different art style or a different art direction regarding Sonic thanks to Sonic Dream Team. I know that it's very subtle changes and not many people are going to be aware of that, but if you're a Sonic fan, you know immediately right out the bat that they changed the look of Sonic completely. I mean, just by looking at the thumbnail of this video and all the renders that has been thrown out the window regarding Sonic Dream Team so far, you can see the changes even if you're not a major Sonic fan. You can see that Sonic has a much slimmer design. He kind of has a much taller design, surprisingly. The long quills are back, which has been a heated debate in terms of like, should he have long quills, should he have short quills, all that kind of stuff. But I think here of Dream Team, it shows that there's at least a middle balance. Like, he has longer quills compared to the Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Forces models by a large degree, so there is that. And his facial features and his eyes, everything about Sonic kind of speaks towards Sonic Hero style of design plus Sonic Prime Sonic, in terms of just those two combined, and you have Sonic Dream Team. I think that's the best way to explain it, because his proportions are just good enough to stand out. The coloring and the contrast is kind of like Prime, but there's just this whimsical and comical feature to Sonic and the gang here that you would have seen in Sonic Heroes, for example. So that's kind of my observation and analysis of the art style of Sonic Dream Team. But what is certain is that we do have a new art style for Sonic, and if this is going to be the standard for Sonic moving forward, which is the whole point of this video, by the way. Yeah, in case you couldn't tell with this discussion video here with Sonic, because I gotta do a Sonic quota now, like forget Bayonetta quotas, I gotta do Sonic quotas. But besides all that, this entire video here is all about trying to see if Sonic Dream Team is setting the standard in terms of art direction and art style for Sonic moving forward. And I like to think that it is. Like, forget the notions that this is exclusive to Apple Arcade. Like, forget all about that, you know, forget exclusivity for a second. Let's just talk about the art style here and how this could pave the way forward for future Sonic games in regards to an identity, so to speak, you know? Like, there's nothing wrong with Frontiers as a recent case example, or like Sonic Superstars, where they have their identities as both modern and classic, and they try their best and sort of encapsulate that and ensure that this is a modern Sonic game with its environmental design and graphical fidelity, you know, models and renders and all that. Likewise with classic Sonic in a more cartoon fashion, a more comical and whimsical nature. Dream Team, for some reason, is managing to blend both of those elements together and create this one consistent version of Sonic that really demonstrates all the things that make Sonic as a character. All the comical and whimsical stuff that we've known in classic games, and yes, with the 2010s and meta era, but also allowing itself to breathe in the modern attributes with, you know, the adventure games, with Unleash, with Generations, and all that kind of stuff. That's what Dream Team's art style kind of exemplifies to some degree. And I know that a lot of people, you won't be able to see those subtle differences. Like, I know it's hard, but you can really see it if you just take a moment of your time to look at the renders, to look at the the way that Sonic and the gang look in this game, aside from the animation, because my god, that animation they provided for the trailer, that is amazing, that is outstanding, like wow, that is truly amazing right there. Like that's what I want in terms of like a Netflix show for Sonic. No disrespect to Sonic Prime, but you know, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is way better. But aside from all that, Sonic Dream Team is blending in all those elements and making a consistent form of Sonic that I want to see moving forward. I want to see this Sonic a lot more now. I love the way he looks in Dream Team, and I really want that for a future Sonic game. Like hell, for a future Sonic Frontiers 2 or like a Sonic Adventure 3, I think this level of art style would benefit it. You know, better environmental design. You can still have that realism, but also make it whimsical and fun, like Legend of Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, for example. You can wonderfy it with Mario Wonder and how that art direction truly presented the fun qualities of Mario. You can do that with this art style for Sonic, and it's entirely like the possibilities are endless here, and that's what I want to say in terms of like this should be the standard. Is this the new art style for Sonic? Yes. Should this be the standard for Sonic in terms of art direction and art style? Absolutely, freaking absolutely, okay? Like yes, okay, 120%. And I know from this point some of the comments in this video are gonna try and make a counterclaim saying that, oh, let's say we get this version of Sonic in regards to art style and all that kind of stuff. How are you going to use that and still provide a serious and perhaps darker nature to Sonic's lore and stories, or you know, something what Frontiers provided? How can you make a boss fight like the Titan fights in Frontiers with that art style? And I totally understand that. First of all, completely understand that take, and yeah, I had to have some time truly thinking about it and truly wondering if is it possible in the first place. But the thing is, it is absolutely, you know, you could do it, is what I'm saying. You can definitely do it, and two case scenarios and what I have here that really lay to that point is the Kirby franchise and the Klonoa franchise. And with Kirby here, if you played a Kirby game and you played the final boss, that's literal nightmare fuel. And Kirby's a game that's built on the cutesy nature and atmosphere of you know, like Dreamland and the wonders and all that, you know, level of like fun, unique fantasy curiosities that makes Kirby Kirby. Its final bosses are nightmare fuel. Do you remember the one in Forgotten Land? Do you remember the late game stages of post game content? All those stages? Do you remember do you even remember the Dark Matter trilogy and those boss fights? Like Dreamland 3 in my mind still strikes me as odd, and it's a Kirby game. I remember going through the deserts and the fun forests and Candyland like levels, and then having to fight a dark god like Dark Matter. Kirby, like, you know, like that's one thing. So Sonic can definitely have Titan based fights while still being whimsical and fun like Dream Team is presenting, and I would not be surprised if Dream Team suddenly pulls a Kirby in terms of its final boss with the new character. Like I'm not denying the possibility that that's gonna happen. Like it's bound to happen, but again, that's one example. And with Klonoa, if you played the Klonoa franchise, and I think that's more of like closer of a comparison in terms of like between Sonic and Klonoa, you can see that the Klonoa games are just as whimsical and fun, but they do have a serious plot and nature to it, and the final bosses are just about the same as a Kirby game in terms of like literally throwing out nightmare fuel towards the end of it and you expecting it to just digest it and be like, okay, this is a game. Like that could still happen with Sonic. And have you forgotten about Sonic Heroes? I think that's also another good example of all of that. Like, to go back to what I said of like that blend of like Sonic Heroes and Sonic Prime in terms of how the models are rendered and stuff, Sonic Heroes gave us a dark final boss, so to speak. We fought Metal Overlord, a dark robot dragon with so many eyes and so many like dark, edgy elements to it. And if I remember, Sonic Heroes level design was kind of just implementing the classic games and just modernizing it to some capacity for a 3D Sonic game. So yeah, it can be done, is what I'm saying. With all these examples, you can still have a dark tone and a setting and darker boss fights, much like that of the Titan fights with Sonic Frontiers, while also still applying that level of whimsical fun and nature, not nature, but that whimsical and wonderfied elements to a Sonic game. Like, it could still be done at the end of the day. And honestly, like, I would love to see that a whole lot more now the more I think about it. But yeah, honestly, those are just my 2 cents in regards to the Sonic Dream Team's new art style and just Sonic's new art direction, so to speak. Like, I definitely would love to see an Uekawa style game or an Kurashino style game. Like, with mods with Sonic Frontiers, it can be done, and I hope it's to be done in the future, because I think that will also add on to the level of, you know, whimsical fun of Sonic, as I've said. But so far with what we have here, I want this to be the new standard for Sonic. At least for a couple of games here and there, until you can kind of like tweak it and make it a little bit better and stuff like that. But for a future console release, I would love to have this to be the new art style for Sonic. I think Sonic definitely deserves it. I think Sonic is in a new era in terms of like the revival era. He's non-stop committed to all the content he's been able to produce the past 3 years and now. So this would be amazing as like a fresh breath of air for Sonic. And I would love to see more of this. Like, dude, I just love the art style they have for Dream Team here, even though I hate the fact that it's on Apple Arcade. Like, again, exclusivities aside, I want this to be Sonic moving forward. I love this Sonic. I really want this to be the Sonic for a good 2 or 3 years, so to speak. Like, I want this to be the Mario Wonder for Sonic, or at the very least, the precursor to a Mario Wonder for Sonic. And hopefully with Dream Team that showcases that. I'm super excited regardless. I won't be able to play it. I don't own Apple products. I don't have the funding and money for all that. But hey, if you milk this content, like meaning if you keep watching this, you keep, you know, commenting, engaging and all that kind of stuff, maybe I could buy it, and maybe I could get that Apple Arcade membership or whatever it is that they have, so I can do like a Sonic Dream Team review or whatever. I don't know. I haven't even done Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I didn't even talk about that one in all honesty. But you know, that's for a future video. That's in the future. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you want this to be the standard for Sonic moving forward? Do you think this new art style complements Sonic in terms of who he is as a character and franchise? Throw it all in the comments. I kind of feel done with Sonic at the moment, even though depending on whether or not this is uploaded before or after my 1 year sort of introspection with Sonic Frontiers, we'll see about that. But if it's before, you have that Sonic Frontiers video to look out for. If it's after, then, well, I'm gonna take a break from Sonic for a bit, at least until I can get the Mega Man X8 review out of the way and the Ace Attorney trilogy review out of the way as well, because like I said, that was a 5K special, like sub special, not sub special, 5K sub goal that I wanted to do for the channel, and I am working on that. Those are 3 games, my guys. You're probably gonna have to wait at least a month and a half, so to speak, especially assuming that I'm doing all these discussion videos in the process and all that. So trust me, those are all in the works. But right now, let's just wait for Sonic Dream Team on December 5th exclusively on Apple Arcade. One of the most stupidest moves I've ever seen out of Sega to date, and trust me, I haven't even talked about Angry Birds just yet.